Welcome back to my channel. When you have an equation question like this one that involves a letter or variable, how do you isolate that variable and what's the quickest way to do it? Need to know? Keep watching.
It's like every day.
Getting the variable by itself is the objective. So let's look at this first question here. What's happening here is you have 8n plus 37 equals 31. What do you do with this? Okay, so we need to get this by itself. This is the variable n, so the variable is always the letter. And the first thing to do here with this particular question is to get this 7 away from the variable. So if the objective is to isolate the variable, or it's the getting the variable alone, we need to start by getting rid of this plus 7. So we need to get rid of this. And the best way to do that is we still put the 8n here. Always line your equal sign up because there's always something going on either side of the equal sign. Your variable is always going to be on the left. Your answer should always be on the right. So to get the 7 away, we have to do the inverse operation or the opposite operation. All right, so we want the 7 to join its family. The 7 is not a family of the variable. The 7 is a number by itself. So then what we do is the 31 remains on this side. 7 comes over. Now when it joins its family and it moves over, it changes its sign. So right now is a plus 7. So we want it to be a minus 7. Right? So remember, this is the quickest way to getting the variable alone. There is another step in between here where you would do a minus 7 and cancel it out and then do a minus 7 on the other side. We're skipping that. We're just going to go over here, make the 7 join its family and make it a minus 7. All right, so we're going to put the 8n here, then line up our equal sign, and then we need to solve this side. So 31 minus 7, that would give us 24. And then now we have 8n equals 24. The variable is still not by itself. It's still not alone. It's still not isolated. How do we get it isolated? Right? So this 8n means 8 times n. Right? So anytime you have a number and the variable's right next to it, it's a multiply. But what we need to do is do the inverse of multiplication, which is divide. So now we got the n equals, and then the 8 goes underneath the 24, becoming 24 divided by the 8, which will give us a 3. Right? So 3 quick, easy steps there. Let's look at the other one. So this question is distributive property. Right? So we got 2, and then in the brackets we have n plus 5 equals minus 2. So what we do here is we have to get rid of these brackets. And the way to get rid of the brackets is to multiply in. Right? So the 2 gets multiplied by the n and the 5. So 2 times n would give us 2n, plus 2 times 5 will give us 10. On this side of the equal sign, you still have the minus 2. Now we have a standard equation, right? So we have a 2n plus 10 equals minus 2. The same rule applies. The objective is to get the variable on its own. We have an n variable, we need to isolate it. So we need to get rid of this plus 10. And how you get rid of it is to do the inverse, which will be minus 10. When it joins its family over here, it changes its sign, so it's going to be a minus 10. So the 2n is going to remain on this side. We line up our equal sign. Minus 2 remains. Bring the plus 10 over to be a minus 10. Okay, now we're going to solve this right side. So we have 2n, this is still the same, we haven't done anything with it yet, equals. Now, this is number line. Minus 2 minus 10 means you're going further away from the 0 on the left side of the number line. So if you start on minus 2 and then jump to the left 10 times, you're still on the minus side, you're going to get to minus 12. So now we have 2n equals minus 12. Same thing applies. This means 2 times n. We want to do the inverse of that. So the inverse would be division. So the n, line up your equal sign, equals. The 2 goes underneath the minus 12. So it's minus 12 divided by 2, which will give us n equals minus 6. Let's do one more. So here we have this one here. 6 equals a over 4 plus 2. I'm going to write it out where it's more vertical. So let's do that. So 6 equals a over 4 plus 2. Now, if you have a question like this, do not get confused because the rule never changes. The rule is still to get the variable by itself. It's still to isolate the variable. It's still to get the numbers into their families, right? So this plus 2 is sticking out here. It needs to go and join its family over here. So in order to make it do that, you have to perform the inverse operation. So this plus 2 will become a minus 2 over here. So 6 minus 2 equals a over 4. So now we have this style of equation. So now we're going to do the subtraction over here. So 6 minus 2 is 4 equals a over 4. The variable is still not isolated. We still need to get it by itself, right? So what do we do here? We balance it out, balance the equation out, and do a cross multiplication. So 1 times a is a. So now we got the variable by itself. And what does it equal? 4 times 4 is 16. So as you can see, I skipped the step where you do something to both sides of the equation on either side of the equal sign, and I made it a little bit quicker. If you're familiar with that, you can do that, but there's nothing wrong with still doing something to both sides if you want to include that step. Like, comment, or subscribe with that notification bell so you know every time I upload, which is every Wednesday. And I will see you next time in another math video. Thank you for watching. Class dismissed.